Hi friends, today we're talking about hammock camping. With hammock camping, there's a common misconception that you can grab just any hammock, run off to the woods, and you'll be just fine. I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's just not true. Today, we'll be going over some tips and required gear. So when you go hammock camping, you can do it the right way. Now let's get to the meat and potatoes.
That's some good meat and potatoes.
To state the obvious, the very first piece of required gear for hammock camping is a hammock.
Oh my God, this is so comfy.
Now, my best piece of advice for those on the market for a hammock is to stick to a company that specializes in camping hammocks. I personally went with a company called Dream Hammock. They're a company that only specializes in hammocks and hammock accessories. I like them because they're very customizable. You'll notice that some hammocks will have options for right lay, left lay, or symmetrical lay. What this means is what side you want your feet to lay on. Left lay is designed to specifically only have your feet lay on the left side, where right lay specifically has your feet on the right side. And symmetrical lay gives you the option of having both. If you're new to hammock camping, you must understand that it's bad for your back to lay directly centerline in your hammock. You must lay slightly off center with your feet to the left and head to the right, or your feet to the right and head to the left, which is why they give you those lay options. I personally went with the symmetrical lay in my hammock, but I find myself using the right lay more than the left. So if I were to do it again, I most certainly would get a right lay hammock. So a little pro tip here, one night it was raining really heavy, and what happened was the rain ran down this tree, down my straps, and ran all the way down my back. Now to prevent this, all I had to do is cut some paracord and tie it to these lines right here. I did experience another heavy rainstorm with these bad boys, and the rain ran down the tree, down my straps, and stopped right at the paracord. Worked perfectly fine. Trust me, you don't know you need this until you do. All in all, I spent around $300 on my hammock. Totally worth it. There's a lot of options out there, so be sure to shop around and see what works best for you. And if a friend of yours has a hammock, be sure to try it out. See if you like it or not. Hey everyone, real quick, if you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a lot. With that said, let's dive into the next piece of required gear here. And the next piece of required gear is the quilt and or sleeping bag. This is what's gonna keep us warm at night. The best option for a hammock setup is a top and under quilt combo. So the top quilt is like a sleeping bag, but with the back portion cut out, keeping the top of your body warm. Whereas your under quilt, it's like a sleeping bag, but with the top portion cut out and it lays directly below your hammock. Now this keeps the lower part of your body warm. Now say you already have a sleep system for a tent setup, you can totally use a sleeping bag in a hammock while you're working on ordering a top and bottom quilt. If you do that, just make sure you put that sleeping pad right underneath you in the hammock, otherwise you'll be very cold. What happens when you use just a sleeping bag in a hammock is you compress the bottom half of that sleeping bag, and that compromises the insulation that keeps you warm. Using a sleeping pad with a sleeping bag will act as an underquilt, keeping the bottom portion of your body warm. Even though a top and underquilt is ideal for hammock camping, this will work as a good alternative. It's important to note when shopping around for down quilts or sleeping bags that most companies advertise their survivable rating. Meaning if I purchase a 15-degree sleeping bag, that doesn't necessarily mean I'll be warm in 15 degrees, but it does mean I will survive in 15 degrees. What you want to look for is that comfort rating. Even though I have a 15-degree sleeping bag, that same bag has a 28-degree comfort rating. So I'll be nice and cozy in 28 degrees. For my hammock setup, I have a 20-degree top and underquilt made by UGQ. What I like about UGQ is they advertise their comfort rating, so my quilts are true to temperature. Ideally, it's good to have different temperature ratings for different seasons. For example, a 40-degree top and underquilt would be best for summer. With that said, I find my 20-degree top and underquilt to be the best rounded for all seasons. This is the only setup I have, and I've used it in summer, fall, winter, and it's been perfect. I'm located in Virginia, so obviously it depends where you are, but I definitely slept in less than 20 degrees, and I've slept in at least 60 degrees with that. So if you're looking to start off with top and underquilt combo, I would highly recommend getting the 20-degree because it's so well rounded for all seasons. And our final piece of required gear for hammock camping is a rain fly. This is what protects us from the elements. There are a lot of good options out there. I personally went with a DCF, aka Cuban fiber, aka Dyneema rainfly. This material sure has a lot of names. I chose to go with Dyneema for a few reasons. It's super durable, and I'm an absolute klutz, So it's really great that this stuff is so strong. It's also super lightweight. It almost feels like nothing, literally nothing. And one of the biggest benefits here is that Dyneema doesn't hold any water other than surface tension, which you can literally just flick away, so it won't ever become soaked or saturated. Fun fact, Dyneema fabric was originally designed for sails, like for sailboats. Sail! Dun, 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 dun. If you're just not feeling the Dyneema, or you can't like really see yourself spending $500 on a rainfly, you can go out and get a silk poly rainfly for around $100 to $200. I would also highly recommend getting storm doors if given that option. It really helps with heavy storms and it gives you a little bit of privacy when needed. I custom made a neat little door system with some shock cord and some clips I got off Amazon. Here it is closed and here it is open. So one thing I would highly recommend for your rainfly is getting a snake skin. What it does is it goes over your rainfly and just stows it right on top of your hammock, right there like so. I don't remember exactly how much I paid for this, but I remember it was fairly cheap. And when your rainfly is deployed, super easy to just stow it into that snake skin. And I highly recommend, no matter what the weather calls for, to always guy out and set up your rainfly, even if you plan on stowing it. In the mountains, weather is just always unpredictable. You never know. It could call for a clear night and just a little sprinkle storm will come by. So you always want to have that set up, your stakes in the ground. That way, if it starts raining in the middle of the night, you can just easily deploy your rainfly. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already, consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a lot. Also, drop by in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.